Casual Magic has been sponsored by Quiver, maker of the Quiver and Bolt deck cases and other fine deck holding accessories. Use the code CASUAL on their website for 10% off your order. We're also sponsored by Architect, the premier site for hosting your decks on the internet. I love them and they love me, and it seems like a good reason for you to use them. You can also support Casual Magic directly by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/ShivamB. And now, on with the show. Hello and welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic the Gathering. My name is Shivam Bhatt, and Casual Magic is brought to you by Quiver and Architect and my patrons at patreon.com/ShivamB. Today, I'm super stoked to have yet another member of my dear friend group up in Victoria, the LRR crew. One who I've actually wanted to talk to for a long time because you're really, really cool since we did that co-stream together, and I was like, oh, you seem sick. My dear friend Coriander Dickinson, aka Cori, aka I don't know if you have an aka.
I don't have a nickname. I'm working on maybe Cori the Great and Powerful.
I feel that's strong. It has a lot of resonance.
It's like, don't look behind the curtain. I'm just frantically pulling levers.
Hello, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello. Always good to talk to you. Always exciting.
Yeah, it's funny because for a long time you were, in my perception, you were always doing LRR things that were not Magic related, but the sketch comedies or other streams and stuff. And then suddenly in the past year, you've started showing up more and more and more on Magic streams. I'm like, damn, when did Cori start playing? That's sick. And so it's really exciting to see, and it's really fun. But why did you start amping up your Magic output?
It was finally time to give it a real go. I did play a little bit in high school. I had a spare block in grade 12, and so one of my friends would pull an ammunition container full of cards out of his locker and just give me whatever deck and then punish me for mana burn and stuff like that. Days. Yeah, the good old days. So I didn't really pick it up in high school.
Are you from the island?
No, I'm from northern BC, up near the BC Yukon border.
Oh, that's way north.
Spent about 7 years in Alberta.
Oh, a lot of you guys seemed to be have been in the prairies or whatever it is, the equivalent thereof. But BC's north border is super north.
Super north. Yeah. You're thinking Anchorage, Alaska.
That's insanely. I mean, and it's wild to me that your country continues.
It goes all the way. It goes all the way up.
All the way to the top.
We own the North Pole. Ascent is ours, baby.
And I don't mean to turn this into Canada time, but Yukon is it's amazing to me that there are people in Yukon, or
yes.
Because I mean, my entire exposure to it is LRR's trip up north. So okay. I'm there are 20 people in the hinterland.
There's a highway up there called the Dempster that I really want them to film a thing doing, because there are gas stations and service stops if you're taking the Alaska Highway or the closer to the coast stuff. Yeah. That they branched off, but up there that's just 500 miles till next service station. Not that I want them to get stranded,
dude. When I was younger, we drove across the United States from Massachusetts to California, and there are chunks of the central of America, South Dakota area, where it's literally your next rest stop is tomorrow. It's just 1,000 miles that way. Good luck. And
check a map later. My stepmother was born in a town called Inuvik, and that's an area that basically you only get to in a bush plane.
That is whoa, that's the top.
It is the tippy top.
That's I'm looking at a map and I'm oh, north of this is literally the Arctic Ocean. That's insane.
Yeah, have you seen the TV show The Terror?
No, but that's not terrifying. So you grew up and so obviously coming down to BC must have been a nice change of, to Victoria must be a nice change of pace from
Oh yeah,
Far north.
I still go up to like the Peace region, which is 3/4 of the way up, let's say, roughly, to visit my dad. But
oh, cool.
it
So what
doesn't
brought
snow
you
as much
to
here.
Victoria?
The weather.
You know
No.
what? Fair and reasonable. Fair
Would
and
you like to
reasonable.
hear my origin story?
Yes, of course. That's why I bring you on this show. Like, this show is casually about magic, right? Like it's a frame story. I'm like, okay, magic, great. Now tell me about you. I don't care. I know everything I need to know about cards.
All right. So it all begins around 2005.
You are not that young.
I'm in a city called Grand Prairie, Alberta, the town of Big Flat, 50,000 people. I'm in high school. I
There's
joined
a town called Big Flat.
It's Grand Prairie. It's French.
I'm like, it feels like that's kind of on the nose.
Look, we've got places called like Three Rivers. And there's places literally named after the mile marker on the highway. There's like 100 Mile House.
Okay, I just randomly zoomed in on a place in Alberta called Slave Lake. So I'm like, okay, we're just going to stop that exploration right now.
Slave Lake and Lesser Slave Lake. There's
Slave Lake.
There's a cryptid in Lesser Slave Lake called Evil's Wrestle.
You know what?
Anyways, so I joined the college anime club in Grand Prairie and make a bunch of friends and start doing road trips to conventions in like Edmonton and Calgary. And turns out the guy who runs the anime club is part of an improv troupe called the 404s. And his name is Brendan Beach Deary.
Brendan.
Yeah, so we
I didn't
go
know
to the
his
shows.
real name.
His real name is Brendan.
I've talked to him like 1,000 times, and it never occurred to me to ask that his name was anything other than Beach.
Anyways, unless you're doing business with him, you don't really use it.
That's fair. It's not really like it doesn't show up in conversation.
No, we prefer Beach.
Yeah. Do you know what Beach means in my language in Gujarati?
No.
It means seed.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Is there any equivalent for like coriander, the plant?
Dhana. Because coriander is a food that we use a lot. Mm-hmm. Like I grow it in my backyard. We'll have to talk about that in a second too, because like coriander is your actual name.
Yes.
Like real, like
my real actual name.
And I remember I asked you once, and you were like hippies,
Christians.
How do you get to coriander then from what?
Well, you see, when Moses was leading the people in the desert, they found food on the ground called mana, and it's described in the Bible as being sweet like honey and white like coriander.
Coriander's green. Coriander seeds are white, maybe, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Normally, we just grind it into a powder and you never think about it again.
Yeah. Normally, we just put it in burritos and people are like, ugh, soap.
It turns out coriander powder, the seed powder, is not the same as the leaves. We use both the leaves and the powder, but the powder is like a fundamental part of what makes Indian food taste like Indian food. Mm-hmm. And the leaves are a thing that people put on top that you take off because they're gross. They don't taste like soap to me. They just don't taste good to me. If that's...
it does mean there's like a whole bunch of merchandise that says coriander sucks on it that I could just buy and wear.
Oh no. That must have been an interesting challenge growing up with. No, I guess people probably just don't care because in the 80s they were like, we all have weird names.
People thought Ander was my middle name, and we've just generally shortened it to Cori to eliminate confusion.
That's fair. But yeah, so you were at the anime club in the middle of Alberta.
And I met Beach, and we'd go to the shows to, support our friends that are doing this thing. And in 2008 in Calgary, one of their other friends who had been a longtime member of their improv troupe came back after living in Japan for a while. And my mom went to a panel that he did assembling a little theremin and was like, you got to meet this guy.
Assembling a theremin?
Yeah, a little theremin kit. It's actually...
I love theremin.
I've got to grab it.
You have it?
Yeah. It's this one. It's just little.
Wow, that really is little. For those of you on the radio, that's like the size of a Rubik's Cube almost.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that they made portable theremin kits. I am not surprised, however, that this gentleman in question had a portable theremin kit from Japan, because that seems about as apropos you can get.
And his name is Ian Horner.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I like Ian. I need to talk to him too. I don't think I've talked to Ian in person at all ever.
Probably not.
We've never crossed intersection, which is, I guess, I mean, it makes sense because he doesn't interact with the magic half of things at all in any capacity. But yeah, anyways, you were saying.
So let's see. Beej moved. My friend Heather Deary took over the anime club, and we kept in touch. And then eventually she moved down to live with Beej.
Presumably.
This is, around the time they were, considering getting married. And Ian joined them in renting a house in Edmonton with a fourth friend from the anime club. And I took over the anime club.
I know how these successions go.
Yes. And started doing more with the improv group. Started dating Ian. He would drive up from Edmonton to Grand Prairie to hang out with me, or we'd, do dates over Skype.
That's a long ass drive.
It's like 4 hours. Yeah.
Midwest
in Canada, that's a day trip.
Yeah, I know. Ironically, my wife was also the president of my school's anime club, and that's also how I met her. So I relate.
Yeah. So I was in school for computing science, getting into game development, and I was working for a company in Grand Prairie called Hermitworks, and they finished a contract and didn't have another project, and they laid me off. So I moved to Edmonton to go to the University of Alberta to finish a degree, which I didn't do, but I got a job after that at a company that was at the time called Overhaul Games and later renamed themselves Beamdog. They were like, hey, we're putting Baldur's Gate on the iPad. And I'm like, yes, sold. I will work on Baldur's Gate.
Sounds like a plan.
Exactly.
Was that the PlayStation Baldur's Gate, or was that the original Baldur's Gate?
It was the original Baldur's Gate. Now they're the enhanced editions. So I worked on Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition, Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition.
Oh yeah,
was
these
like
guys
baby.
Went and put all of the classic like second ed RPGs and imported them later.
Yeah, all the BioWare ones. Well, actually no, the Black Isle.
Black Isle, not BioWare, like way old ones.
Mm-hmm.
The ones from my childhood or teenhood.
Teenhood.
Yeah, I was in like high school when they were out. So
yeah,
cool.
That was really fun. And yeah, in 2010 we were at an anime convention, and we met Loading Ready Run. And at an after party, I got talking to Kathleen and Graham, and they were like, "You should come out to Desert Bus." And this was at the time we also went to PAX, and they were giving out those little boxes in the swag, and I was gonna dig one out, but I didn't.
That's also how I got back into Magic. The exact same packs, the exact same boxes.
Yeah, and so when we did Desert Bus, they were rolling out I think it was Mirrodin, Scars of Mirrodin. So Ian and I got into Magic and took that back to Edmonton, had a little 4-person pod that we play like kitchen table commander with. One of our guys would just show up with like his slabbed moccasin and be like, turn 3 dark steel mirror with bladed pinions, and we'd be like, fine. So we swapped over to doing like a toolkit league where we'd just add a random booster every time we met up and rebuild our decks.
That's the best way to do it.
From a small baby pool instead of unlimited.
Instead of like infinite cards from forever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I firmly believe that the best way to play Magic is as limited a content as you can make. Like my personal favorite way to play Commander is like you take one box, you crack it open, and you build a deck with whatever you find in there.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's super fun because it's like your power level is necessarily limited by how strong the box is, which is why you don't want to use like master sets or whatever. But also you still have to, like, it lets you use every card, all the random garbage limited cards that you normally would throw away or whatever. Like, it suddenly reminds you that every card is still playable somewhere. And it's super fun because, like, especially now they put like a million legends in every pack. So, like, you can make a deck out of anything. But it also means that you don't have infinite combos and infinite, like, soul rings and whatever's. Anyways.
Infinite soul rings.
Dude, I dream of the day where I can sit and draft like 2 soul rings in a deck. Can you imagine how sick that was? Oh, let me tell you a story real quick. So I was playing a Commander game a long time ago, and a friend of mine had a card that animated, like, it animated an artifact. I think it might have even been an animate artifact. And he cast it on it somebody else's soul ring and turns it into a creature.
Mm-hmm.
And then he casts Rite of Replication on that soul ring, which gives him 5 more soul rings. And suddenly he's just like, I have all the soul rings. And I'm like, oh my God, what the hell? And he won. Turned out having just 10 extra mana, that's pretty good. But dude, it was just like, what the 5 soul rings? What?
Sounds like fun though.
It's so good. It was so cool. And I was like, oh my God, we need to play Oops All Soul Rings. That would be the greatest game.
Yeah, I have been considering just a like no mana colors.
The colorless deck?
Yeah. Well, not making a colorless deck, making playing Commander, but with no color limitations. No color identity.
So just that would be like Canlander then.
I don't know.
A little weaker Canlander. Anyways, whatever. I'll let some theorists figure that one out. So then, how did you guys get? So you moved? Did you go to Desert Bus then?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Desert Bus 4.
That's kind of weird to me. That, like, because I got to meet I met the LRR crew at PAX 2011, and that's where I think we became. No, not PAX 2011. Oh no, I didn't meet him until 2016. Never mind.
Oh wow,
you were
yeah,
well
okay.
Yeah, because like we met at the Kaladesh PAX.
Where they had like the street fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a cool show. That was really fun. And yeah, that's where I met with the Graham and Kathleen and like the whole crew, and became ingratiated in the community of LRR satellites, which is cool. But like, so you went to Desert Bus, and then you guys just decided to move to Victoria because it's just cooler.
I want nothing more in life than to make stuff with people I like.
Yeah, I feel like that's the dream for all of us creatives.
Yeah, probably. I don't want to say a lot of competition to do it, but there's not a lot of spots available.
Yeah, there's not a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, it is quite difficult to even get 2 people together to like make a thing. I'm a chronic podcaster.
I wouldn't know anything about that. I'm planning my 4th and 5th shows.
Concurrent?
Yeah. I run 3 shows right now. With this one, Shivam Wheeler and Chronicles of Dragonlance, and I'm planning a show about Hinduism that with a couple of other Indian nerds. Okay. And then I want to do a show about sci-fi and fantasy novels, and that's just a lot of show. That's a lot of show. And me and Wheeler just spun off a 3rd bonus. So on Shivam and Wheeler, we do Shivam and Wheeler main shows, then we do bonus episodes, and we just spun off a 2nd bonus episode.
You just want to keep talking.
Yeah, basically. No, it's literally called Leftovers, because like the main shows, we talk about like 100 cards or whatever from a set. And then we're like, at the end of each show, we're like, crap, we forgot to talk about X, Y, and Z. And so we're like, what if we just do a Leftovers podcast where we talk about X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, why are we doing it? And it turns out people really want to hear them. So yeah, I wouldn't know anything about chronic podcasting. It is not a problem.
I have to ask, does Wheeler make a Leftovers joke every Leftovers episode?
We just started it, so not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
But it'll come. It will come.
Yeah.
So but it's not about me. It's about you, Cori. So like, yeah, moving to Victoria and getting to hang out with that crew seemed just like the dream. Like, somewhat, is Victoria beautiful and like you get to do things?
We don't hang out that much outside of work.
Well, yeah, because they're your coworkers. It's like, you're with them like all day.
I know everyone's like, oh, everybody in Lur's friends. It's more accurate to say we're friends of friends.
That's a wild description. You're friends of friends, so you see each other on occasion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not weird to, like, run into someone downtown, oddly enough, and just be like, "Hey, wanna grab lunch?"
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, because to be fair, though, you guys are in the office together and you do work.
Mhm.
Like, it is a job. I mean, it looks like fun time for everybody else outside, but you have work to do. You have editing, you have shows to put together, whatever it is. And when you're done with work, you want to go home. And it's like, I've worked in the video games industry and I've worked in the movies industry. And one of the things I realized is when you go home, you don't want to do the thing you're doing at work all day, even if it's the thing
Yes.
you enjoy doing. Like, playing Magic all day at work means that when you go home, you want to do literally anything else. Or like I don't want to watch movies. I worked in movies all day. I'm tired of thinking about movies. Let me read a book, you know?
Or I can no longer appreciate movies as just an audience member.
Oh, hell no, I can't. Are you kidding me? Because like the problem is I would be watching like a commercial and I'm like, oh, look, they dropped 4 frames. And my wife's like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like,
Just be like, "Oh, the compositing's a little sketchy here."
yeah, exactly. Or like, the sound balance is off in the theater. And she's like,
Oh.
you are not fun to watch with. I'm like, sorry. I took the job because I didn't really like movies to begin with. So it makes it much easier for me to be able to do this as a day job. Uh, but it's mainly because I have ADHD and sitting for like 2 hours in one place without being able to move, kind of not comfortable for me.
Are you one of those, like, scroll on your phone and watch stuff
Yeah, or
people's?
something like, and then I'm like, that's disrespecting the art form, and also like,
Mm.
whatever. I mean, I'll watch movies because I'm a social human being and know how to play nice with others, but it's not the thing that I would choose to do on my free time. Um, but yeah, like it is. I mean, what do you do there?
At Lur?
Yeah, are you a full timer? Or are you like just?
I'm part-time.
Mm,
Yeah, when we moved, I was still working for Beamdog remotely,
mm.
up till the end of 2017.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
cool.
and then I had, like, severe burnout,
Yeah,
and
that also comes from the games industry. I know that feeling.
yeah, so 2018, I took a year off and traveled, went on, like, the JoCo cruise, met some people. I had to
Mm,
make friends outside of Lur, like, desperately,
yeah,
just because there's, like, that thing where you hang out all day, so there's not really room to hang out for
yeah,
casual reasons, to have fun.
yeah.
Like, I played maybe 1 game of Commander with Graham and Kathleen, and when we moved, I think there was, like, 1 conspiracy draft at Moonbase Mark III
Hmm.
with a bunch of strangers, and I have severe social anxiety.
So you went on a cruise full of nerds.
Yeah, with my friends.
Fair.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I did, on purpose, make new friends
Well, good.
as an adult.
That is both very hard to do and very admirable to do. Like when you have like social anxiety or whatever, it's hard to put yourself out there, and then you're like eventually you have to force it, and then you find friends, and then it's great. Like we
Mhm,
have a pair of friends who are mutual friends, which is I didn't even realize until later. I'm like,
and
oh
that's where I met them.
yeah, and it's funny because like that friend Artie is like effectively my senpai for like the past 25 years, the person who I'm like, I need help, and she knows everything there is to know about whatever random thing is broken. And so it's like, it's
Yeah.
great. But
No,
yeah.
Art and Wedge are in chat all the time.
Yeah.
It was nice to put faces to names, but it's really unfortunate that they're funnier than I am and just
Yeah,
so brilliant.
they're so cool. Like I that's like one friendship that I'm just deeply deeply grateful to have maintained for like 20 something years or whatever. uh it's wild. Like yeah, it's super wild. But in any case though, it's like that kind of makes sense. Like it's so like you make podcasts and you do streams and
Mhm.
stuff, and then like when you're hanging out with people, one thing I've realized, especially after lockdown, is that if you're with someone all day, you have nothing left to talk about when you want to hang out.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the biggest problems is like, okay, we're here to relax. What are we going to talk about that we haven't already? Like, well, how was your day? I don't know. You sat next to me the whole time. What do you think it was?
Mhm.
And that's just it's like that's part of why I started this podcast is because I needed to have a slot to be able to talk to friends or people who will become friends, just because I can tell stories and talk to people about things that, like, my poor wife has now heard every story I've ever had or lived through half of them because, we've been here. And it's like, I need an outlet to talk to people who I don't know all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
that's the value of podcasting.
So Ian and I moved here in 2014. I didn't like Innistrad Block very much, not really into the gothic horror. I've kind of come around on it as,
sure.
Vampire Nighthawk. I
The
love.
greatest card of all time.
And yeah, moving kind of just lost the social group that I played casual stuff with, and it became only playing on camera, which is a
which is not
bad
fun.
place to learn.
Yeah. That is the truth. That is the truth.
Yeah, it's like there's lights and noise, and there's like people around
and
you,
there's
people
100,000 people in
talking.
chat who are very happy to tell you how you
People in
screwed that one up.
chat to scrutinize everything you do, and it's like if you take too long or make a mistake, then it reflects poorly on everybody, not just you. It's like now you've made the show unwatchable, so it's going to get lower views on YouTube. So
Yeah,
it's not a good time.
It's not a good time when your hobby becomes a business. I mean, look, all of us in this field have turned our hobbies into business. That's just kind of the name of the game, and it sucks. But also simultaneously, you have to be good enough to make it like watchable, and that's the challenge. It's like it's not enough that everybody's like, oh, I'm just gonna go play Magic with my friends and we'll tape it and it'll be great. Yeah, but then once a reality of like, oh, you need views and you need like people to continue to come back, and you can't suck at this. Or if you suck at it, you've got to comically suck at it in such a way that people want to watch you suck at it. And it's like, this is not fun either direction.
Yeah, I suck at it like a normal way where if I'm distracted, I can't read things or do math or listen to people.
I've finally gotten to that age where I can't read a Magic card without like holding my phone up to it. And I'm like, this is embarrassing. I need to just get
when we do
glasses.
paper Magic, I'm playing purely off memory. I do not know what cards are on the table.
Yeah, it's just like, I think that says tap.
Yeah. I even put like glasses on so I can read chat. The cards are less important.
Yeah, but that said, you found really cool niche there though in doing like the fun streams, like the can't draw horses and like playing weird visual novel stuff. And like I really just enjoy that change of pace.
Yeah, so you ask what I do. What I have done previously is a lot of the streams I had to like kind of piggyback on ongoing stuff to gain audience familiarity. So like the horror streams or a lot of the group streams or handheld games or little indie
actually
games
that's
and
an interesting question I haven't gotten to ask any of the LRR people is like, what's it like to join a pre-existing group and then have to on-ramp yourself into becoming a regular cast member, right? Like,
yeah,
was that a challenge?
there's no onboarding, and there's a lot of group history that you don't know. So a lot of decisions get made based on information you don't have, which is difficult. And a lot of like problems that exist are just purely because it got established to do something a way, and then it's done that way forever. And there's more attempts to change that now. But back then it was a little different. Things were a little crunchier with money.
Yeah, because it's like it's institutional, right? Like these people are like a crew of friends that forms a thing, and then it becomes a business, and then there's a problem because once friends are involved in business, it's great for nobody.
And the Wizards of the Coast stuff was a different income stream, different contract than everything else. So there were stricter limitations on like
who gets to do what,
even just helping to film Friday nights. Like typically for a filming day, you could be like, I'll just hold the boom or a bounce or something like that. But for Friday nights, they would be like, no.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I guess, yeah, it's hard when you're working for a third party that has much more like strict on paper rules for who does what and then how money gets money, the source of all evil, right? It's always a problem.
Then I did editing for quite a long time. I did a lot of the highlight videos from 2018 to last year.
Damn, that's a lot.
And a
It's a good way to
lot of
learn.
show development.
What does that mean?
Just kind of pitching new stuff or trying to do the pre-production to get it off the ground. Not every project happens.
I mean, ideally you're going to have like 10 pitches and 3 of them become a thing, and then it's going to be an insane success.
Yeah.
Like you're like, wow, I had 3 ideas that turned into something. Because like, I mean, that's creativity. That's creative work, right? Like you come up with a million ideas and then hopefully one of them actually hits.
And I'm, as a person, just a generalist. Like I'm breadth first. I want mile wide, inch deep. I want to know how to do everything. I want to know how to make everything.
For sure.
I want to know how it all connects.
Yeah, and that's right. I mean, that's really interesting and fun though. Like, because it's neat to be able to at least see how the whole system works and then be able to find where you fit best in there and be able to do that. Some people are just more like, I'm very focused on doing this one thing and I do it very well. And then some people are just like me, I'm just like, I know a little bit about a lot of things. And then as needed, I can learn a little bit about that one thing that's in my wheelhouse, but at least I have the seedbed to be able to say like, I at least know where to start with that. That's also how I've run my conversations with like other humans when I interact with them. I'm like, look, I know a little bit about like anything, so I can start a conversation with somebody about something they know a lot about and then have a great time because I'm just like, teach me the ways of I don't know, cloud seeding or whatever it is.
Like, all right. Yeah.
It's yeah, it makes for a good podcast host.
With you specifically, I love not necessarily how little overlap we have, but just I've got terribly huge gaps.
Yeah, with, sure.
Like, I don't know, Led Zeppelin or something like that. And I could just be like, tell me about which the best album.
Well, it's Led Zeppelin 3, but
and I did ask you that. That's an example of a conversation I've had in the past.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I mean, it's you're very good at that, and I really enjoy watching the shows you host because you have such a cool and level and pleasant like personality for like streams and stuff. And like the few times we've gotten to like do streams together for Venba or whatever it was hella fun.
Venba's so good.
And I've used that YouTube many times for getting consulting gigs in other places where I'm like, look, here's what I know about Indian culture things.
That's
Watch
excellent.
me describe this game to you. Yeah, it's been great. It's been very, very useful. Also, all you guys at home, if you haven't, you should go check out the streams I did with Cori about Venba and what was that other Indian game?
I wouldn't the other one just because we had so many audio issues and
that was
frame
like
rate.
We should go back and do that again sometime.
Yeah,
like that was fun. But yeah, seriously though, Venba, man, that game. I was at GDC, the Game Developers Conference, and I met another Indian person there, and they were from Dubai, and we were sitting there and talking about Venba because he was like, "Oh my god, the Venba sound designer was here." I'm like, "Oh, I wish I could meet her," but we ended up like sitting there like, "Yo, it's so sick that like my mom could play that game and not use any of the instructions and make the idli exactly the way it's supposed to be," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's like." And I'm like, my wife was able to cook because she learned it from my mom and she could play the game without instructions and I needed instructions. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm always looking for games my mom can play.
Yeah, right?
Like, she's just been stuck in Minecraft for the last decade and I'm like, Mom, you got to branch out.
Is your mom James?
Typically, people call him Dad, so I don't know. Who's Mom?
That's so sorry. That was...
No. It's not true because on Saturday he gave me $5 for eating a fry off the ground. My mom wouldn't do that.
Oh. Oh my god. Damn, Cori. But you know what though? It has been really fun to watch you branch out and show up on other streams and like the Friday Night Paper Fights and whatever it is. Just because like the one thing that makes me sad about LRR is that people tend to get locked into their like slots.
Absolutely.
And then you don't see a lot of them if you're not watching those specific, like if you're not watching like, the horror show or Doki Doki Fight Club or whatever, you're not going to see Adam anymore because he's like, I
Absolutely.
don't want to do magic stuff anymore. I'm like, that's fair and fine.
Hmm.
We all have phases. But so it's like, it's nice to see you starting to show up in more places that I can see so that I enjoy like what, like Can't Draw Horses is a kind of a narrow,
It's so niche.
yeah, it's so neat.
It is purely kind of just for the
Can you
health of the
describe it to the
community.
people? Because
Can't
it's
Draw
kind of wild.
Horses Club
Yeah.
is a show where I attempt to try a new art form. Not every episode. Sometimes we roll back, and kind of this year I'm trying to do like a thing for a whole month. Like I'm doing watercolors right now, so I did a couple
That's
with
cool.
watercolors, but I really want to set the bar like on the ground so that people have way lower expectations of themselves. My theory is that the way inspiration works is that you see something and think, I can do that. Rather than like some muse descends on glowing clouds and then suddenly the art comes to you. It's like
watching a Bob Ross painting and you're like, he just spit on the thing and now it's like a canyon vista. And you're like,
yes.
What the hell?
And turns out you can actually just do that. But you need to maybe see an example of that being done first before it clicks in your brain that you could do that.
Yeah. Yeah, but you've been doing that show for a while now.
2021.
That's a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's like many years. 4 years?
Could be longer. Yeah. Yeah, I don't track anything with it. My friends were like, this is your 100th episode, right? I'm like, oh, maybe I should plan something. And then I just did.
Look, dude, if my title of my shows didn't have the episode number in them, I wouldn't know. And that's why I put the number in the episode title, because I'm like, oh, I have done many of these. It's always fun when someone's like, oh man, you should have XYZ person as a guest. And I'm like, well, I did 150 episodes ago. So that's like 3 years ago. So before you knew who I was. Whoops.
Yeah.
I've had people come to me and be like, yo, I want to be a guest on your show. And I'm like, cool, again? And they're like, what do you mean again? And I'm like,
they forgot?
You were on like my episode 21, man. And they're like, what? And I'm like, well, look, it was during lockdown. So I forgive you because, like, who remembers? No. But literally, you were on my show. And I've had actually somebody I've talked to at another content creator I met at a MagicCon at one point. And they're like, wow, you're doing a show now? I'm like, you were on it. You were literally on it. It is I don't know if I should be offended or like what, but I'm like, I was fine because, like, look, when you make content, consuming content is the last thing you want to be doing because it's hard to find time to, because like when you're sitting there watching somebody else, you're like, oh, I could be doing this, or I could be doing anything else with my time.
Yeah.
And so I don't blame anybody for that, but sometimes it's a little funny that I'm like, look, dude, you know exactly why I'm here talking to you, because I'm a content creator with you.
It's weird because I met you basically through the pre-releases, you coming in and doing guest stuff.
Is that how we met?
Run. Yeah. And I was only there because I was doing editing for stuff like the Judge Rules videos.
That was like the first PPR I did for Ravnica, whatever it was.
Yeah. And typically I would just like kind of scurry into the shadows in the office. And
right. I knew who you were because I'd watch you on stream, but obviously that's a one-way street. So like,
but I mean,
yeah,
my impression of you is you're very famous. So of course people should remember that they've been on your show.
I am more famous to myself than to other people, but
maybe that's a good thing.
It's fine, like whatever. I mean, I know exactly where let's just say that it's like one of those things where it's like, I'm your favorite content creator's favorite content creator, and also like the other thing is like people know me as a rabble rouser, and I'm like, that's also fair.
It is funny to hear you say you're the content creator's favorite content creator when you don't like Chapel Roan.
Look, I'm...
It's fair. but
I
it's
was just
funny.
thinking about it yesterday because I was listening. I finally sat and I've been listening. I've been trying, but I'm like, dude, this lady is really like, she is singing songs for people who are not me about topics that are not interesting to me in a style that is not for me. And I'm like, you know what? It's fine. It's rad. And I'm glad that there are people in the world for whom this resonates, and everybody should have music that sings to them. And nothing has to be about me, but God, she's like, it's like listening to 1980s, like mid-tempo bank pop music, like easy listening music, it feels like, but it's just easy listening about lesbians. And I'm like, okay, that's fine and fair. I guess there's a niche for it and a billion people like it, but I don't like
Welcome
easy
to the
listening.
Easy Listening Lesbian Channel.
You know what? Like, there's a lot of lesbians who probably love easy listening when they're lumberjacking. You're like, that's fine. But like,
it's hard to hear over the chainsaws.
But like, I am very clearly not in the chaperone niche. Like, the fact that I didn't even know for the longest time that it wasn't Chappelle, like Dave Chappelle. And I was like, oh, it's like chapel, like pray chapel. And I'm like, whatever, dude. You know, it's slow. Like, I listened to one album that she did, and I don't remember which one it was. It was on the airplane, but that's why I listened to it, because I'm like, look, I've got like 10 hours over the Atlantic. I'm going to give you a chance because I've got nothing else to do, and all the videos are in Portuguese. And so, like, it was like Air Portugal or something, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. The point is, I sat and I listened to it, and the first song was like, "Where's the beat?" And I'm like, thank you. You've now established exactly where I am with this song. I don't know what to do with it. And like, I mean, I'm not here to trash people's feelings, because that's why I'm like, you know what? There is no value for me to go on Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever and be like, yeah, she doesn't click with me, because who cares? Nobody cares about what I don't like. That's not a reasonable position, and it's not a waste. It's a waste of everybody's time. It's like, I would rather share positivity and like be like, hey guys, here's a cool thing. And then if you don't like it, that's fine. I don't care. But like, I don't need to be like, your cool thing sucks.
Well, maybe you would appreciate a podcast called Hey, Check It Out.
Yeah, tell me about your other shows.
Let's see. In 2016,
what do you do? You said you were a serial podcaster. What are your podcasts?
2 of them are banned from the internet. They're gone. They're just forever lost.
Alas.
But so yeah, starting in 2016, I started a Kamen Rider rewatch podcast with,
like, the Japanese TV show,
Tokusatsu Sunday superhero.
No wonder you and Ian got along so well.
I think targeted at like 5-year-olds.
Yeah. Kamen Rider
is Power Rangers, but they ride motorcycles and don't have a giant robot.
I've seen a lot of Kamen Rider.
Mm-hmm. And my friend Anna was like, check out this funny transformation sequence where this guy like puts this giant device on his wrist and then twists a thing and then puts a drop in an eyedropper to transform into like a scuba suit wearing bad guy.
They all look like bugs for some reason. Like, all the Kamen Rider type guys just look like big man insects.
Have you seen like the original Kamen Rider or Shin Kamen Rider?
I have seen chunks of the original.
Okay.
Yeah, back like 20
genetic
years ago,
experiment by Nazis to make the ultimate death machine.
As it happens, you know, just kind of, that's how it goes these days.
That's how it goes. Yeah, so that was Kate Stark and Heather Deary. And it's 52 episodes.
That's a lot of it.
It's a weekly show.
That's a lot more than I thought you would get out of Kamen Rider.
And then there's usually movies, and then there's the crossover episodes that kind of do a handoff when the new season starts. So I did Kamen Rider Ghost. It's called Ghost Watch 2016. And then I needed to punish Anna for her suggestion to watch this terrible show. And I also wanted to invite my friend Alexi Peppers, who I was working with at Beamdog, but not like directly, because she was a huge Godzilla fan. And so it's like a thing to do a podcast where we would re-listen to and then rewatch the episode. So it was a podcast about the previous podcast.
That is very meta.
Yeah, it was going to get worse.
How do you find an audience for somebody who wants to listen to people commentate on another podcast?
We got fan art.
What?
You know, yeah.
That's oh. Okay.
I have many happy memories.
Bless. You know what? If you found your people, you found your people, and I'm not going to say nothing.
Yep. And so instead of doing that again, because everyone was like, we don't want to record anymore with you. We're done. I had Anna come back and invited my friend Josh A. Kagan to watch Kamen Rider O's, which was an earlier sort of one of the reboot. Like Kamen Rider did a reboot like Doctor Who did, where it's kind of like, here's the modern stuff for the Heisei era. Now that we're in the Reiwa stuff, which is also it's all really good, but O's is a good example of the Heisei era. And
so, for those of you who don't know, the Japanese the calendar system in Japan is based on who the emperor is.
Yes.
So, like, right now, the Reiwa era started with the new emperor. Heisei was the last one. And then before that was
Showa, I believe.
Right? Showa, because that's when I was born. I was born in like Showa 62 or something like
and
that.
Previous to that, I think, is the Meiji.
Yeah.
Was
it Meiji before that? I feel like there was a short one between Meiji and Showa, but it might not be. But anyways, the point is, like, even today, the Japanese calendars use a Western calendar, but they also use the imperial calendar. So, like, they will just say things like, "Oh yeah, you were born in Reiwa 13 or whatever it is." And
absolutely,
yeah. But yeah. Anyways, you're still doing Kamen Rider though?
No. We couldn't stop talking about movies, and so I just kind of pivoted into a movie podcast.
Fair. It's like, go where the people are.
And the premise is that we take turns cycling through kind of who's the host for the episode, and their job is to pick a movie that the other people haven't seen and that is interesting to talk about. So we get a lot more weird art things or really obscure, like 2000 era kids movies.
Yeah, because like if the criteria is things that other people haven't seen, that necessarily means you're going to be going deep into the hole to find some stuff.
Especially when like Josh did a challenge last year where he watched just 100 movies for Halloween, and
100.
Yeah,
that's a lot of movies.
It was a lot of movies.
Oof.
He really likes movies, and he really likes garbage movies.
Oh,
he's one of those horror fans.
I should come on and make you guys watch like mid 2000s era political Hindi movies.
I would love that. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that would be great. I've got for my next pick, which is future now, but I don't know where in relation to this episode coming out. Yeah. I want to have Wheeler on for Megalopolis. Because
that's a cool movie.
I saw it because Wheeler recommended it, and my co-hosts haven't seen it, and we all thought it would be fun to do.
Yeah, that would be cool. No, because there's this movie that you should watch if you haven't seen called Peoply Live, which is basically, it's about farmer suicides in the mid 2000s in India, but it's even more crazy than that. It's about basically broadcast journalists. There's this epidemic of farmer suicides in India that happened in the 2000s because, you know, people were running out of money and they're losing their farm, and the only thing they had was like, you know, kill myself for insurance money. And so like this dude is like, this farmer is basically on the verge of losing his farm, and he's like, okay, well, look, if I kill myself, the government is going to give a payout to my family that's going to be huge so they can survive or whatever. And then a broadcast journalist goes and hears about this plan, and he goes to tape this, you know, like to interview this guy and talk to him. And this dude's like having second thoughts, like maybe I don't want to kill myself, you know, like maybe my life is okay. But then the media at large comes on, and they start like trying to like paparazzi this and being like, are you gonna kill yourself today? Like, I've got like deadlines to hit,
kind of like when a crowd forms when a man's on a ledge.
Exactly. And it's just this, and then they end up trying to make like the village is like trying to get like publicity from this, because they're like, oh look, the whole media is here, let's parade and like try to celebrate our guy is gonna die, yeah, and it becomes this whole like it's this black comedy media, like just about the voraciousness of like news media wanting to generate stories where there are none. And it's dark and messed up and also funny. Yeah. It's really messed up, but in a funny kind of way. Anyways.
Yeah, we've definitely touched on dark comedies, or
well, when you have to talk about a movie a week that nobody's seen, you're gonna get some weird
it
stuff.
Isn't weekly.
Well, yeah. How long is your show's thingy?
It's kind of every 2 weeks, depending on my mood, because I have to edit it. Right now, we are butting right up against the recording, though. Like, we recorded last night, and I'm going to be posting an episode today.
Cool. So that's your current show? What else do you do? Like, or what are your current streams, rather?
Currently, Talking Simulator on Tuesdays. I have
show.
Can't Draw Horses Club on alternating Wednesdays.
Do you stream on your own, or?
No, not right now. I have done that on Tilty House, which is the kind of media production company I have with Ian. That's where my podcast stuff's hosted. And we've hosted stuff for some other friends too, like webcomics and their own podcasts or indie games.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's unexpected, but that's cool.
I made
you have a lot of weird hobbies.
Yeah.
Your house must be full of just all sorts of projects.
It feels I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, just knowing, even peripherally knowing Ian, I'm just guessing you've got a lot of like Frankenstein monster devices sitting around.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pan.
Yeah, the camera's not going to pan to look at all your Gundams and your tofu makers and whatever the hell.
Yeah, our little cheese press.
Oh my god. Yeah, right? Like, I've watched Tinker Tailor. I know the kind of crap he gets up to. Oh my god. I really need to talk to Ian just to learn about fixing the Saab on your trip to North Canada. Or
you potentially could. He's not completely out of magic. They just did a Bylon Order Commander game.
Yeah, I saw that
stream. So
that's fun.
He does know how to play, and that's kind of who you want for casual.
How much magic have we talked about on this show?
So
like
much.
2%? Like 1%? Really? It's just kind of, it's more about people. It's like the fact that people still listen to the show kind of amazes me sometimes, because there have been episodes where I'm like, just up front, like, this has nothing to do with magic. Just don't worry about it. This is about board games or Tad Williams or whatever it is. He's just not, there's no magic here.
I've not read any Tad Williams.
You should. He's great. And also a very dear friend of mine.
Okay.
I highly recommend. Like, I had read his books in college, and then and my friends were super into him, and he wrote like big doorstopper fantasies, and I love doorstopper fantasies. Then at Gen Con SoCal, the first few, when they had that con at all for like the 2 years it was there, Tad was down there doing like a booth or having a signing or whatever, and like nobody was coming to his booth because Gen Con, the main Gen Con, is like the biggest con of the universe. Gen Con SoCal was like your ye old high school style anime club thing.
Okay.
It was much, much smaller and much, much dinkier. And so I ended up sitting with him for like 4 hours, 5, 6, 7 hours, because like I read his books and I can talk to anybody. And we ended up becoming very good friends because I'd also met him at a book signing locally, and then he invited me to his house, and then we've hung out a bunch, and like I'm friends with his wife, and he's super cool. And I mean, it's a Shivam thing to do. You just Katamari your way into friends. But
I call it the Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah, basically, I just explode into your room, and suddenly we're best friends. It just happened. Look, dude, someone asked me, it's like, how do you make friends as an adult? I'm like, how the hell do I know, man? I just show up and badger people until they're my friends.
Yeah, I honestly, like the thing I did earlier where I kind of lean in with my fist on my under my chin. I was just like, hey, buddies, how about we make a podcast together? And they're like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm your new best friend.
Pretty much. How do you think I got Wheeler on my show? Yeah, but it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I like talking to people. That's why this show is fun for me. And if it does nothing for anybody but me, that makes it still fine, because then I don't have to not talk to people. You know,
and like with the hey, check it out, we're not trying to grow a big audience or anything like that.
But it's still fun to just do it. It's fun to know you have listeners, but it's also fun to just hang out with your friends. And like sometimes just hitting record while you're just chilling with your buddies is cool.
That is one of the podcasts I did. It was called The Foreign Legion of Burdock.
As in Dragon Ball Z's Burdock?
No, as in the thistle. Yeah. It's just a fun name.
Yeah, you know what? It is. It is. That's, yeah. Thanks for coming on, Cori. It's been super fun.
We should talk more later.
Yeah, no, it's fine though. It's like, you know what? We actually have gotten to the hour anyway, so it's like, oh, cool. We really should do more collaborative things together, because like you were super fun to just chill with and play game. Like we should find another game that I can come and like just like haunt you guys and play with, because that's super fun. But yeah, if folks wanted to find you or your streams or stuff, where could they go?
You can go to tiltyhouse.com. It's tilty.house. Or I'm on Instagram at Coriander Dickinson. And right now, all of the streaming stuff I do is through Loading Ready Run. So
yeah, it's cool.
Keep an eye on the schedule, I guess.
Yeah. that is the most enthusiastic pitch I've ever heard.
I don't know day to day what
I show up when they tell me to show up and we talk.
Yes. That's how my life works.
That, you know what though, as long as somebody's still calling you to show up, that's the best part. Because I've been there when I've shown up and they've been like, oh, you're not being called anymore, and I'm like, sad face. But that's okay, because now I just make more shows when I feel like talking to more people. This is a problem, and I can overcome it, I swear. In any case, thank you so much for joining me, my friend. It's always great to talk to you, and I really appreciate it. And as always, you guys can find me at Shivam Bhatt on Blue Sky, or I guess other places. And you can find the show on YouTube every Tuesday, thanks to my editor, Dan. Or you can hear me on Shivam Wheeler Love Magic, or on the Chronicles of Dragonlance podcast. And as always, remember, it's not magic without the gathering, so we'll see you next time.